For the fifth year in a row, the Franklin Park Coalition will celebrate Thanksgiving with a turkey trot on this Thursday. To tell us about the running and walking event and the work it supports is one of the coalition board members, Mike Carpentier. Thank you very much for being with us, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, a turkey trot, so what's this going to be like on Thursday?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. This is our fifth time we've now had it. It's grown from what had been a few hundred people the first year, that now 5 years later it's the biggest turkey trot in the city of Boston. We had 1,200 people last year, including people pushing baby carriages, puppies, people dress up in costume. Some people are very fast, some people are very slow, but everyone has a good time.
Well, tell me about the beginning of this, because this had to do with a marathon running team, and you were one of the runners, so tell me how this worked out.
I ran the next year, but in 2013 this started. We were lucky enough to have a Boston Marathon charity team, and as part of raising money for that, some of our runners, including Debbie Munson, who is the race director still, put together this idea as a fundraiser, and kind of, I think, threw it together to some extent that first year, and it's grown exponentially.
Well, my running days are very, very far behind me, so tell me, what was this like for you getting ready for the marathon? Because I guess you learned a lot about the appeal of Franklin Park for running, right?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough, in fact, one of the main reasons we live where we live is because it's right next to the largest green space in all of Boston, Franklin Park, plus the Emerald Necklace that's connected to it. So I was very fortunate. I probably had, not that training for a marathon is ever pleasant, but I probably had one of the more pleasant experiences in that I could step out my back door and run, any length of distance needed that day in some of the most beautiful green space in Boston.
Now, we should mention that on Thursday, this turkey trot be a good way for marathoners to shape up. But on the other hand, what about the rest of us? Can other people enjoy this too?
It's a huge. You have people who run very, very fast, who get out in front and they have a good time. But there are walkers, there are people pushing strollers. We have a prize for the fastest puppy, because some people run with their dogs. So really, it's an event for anyone and everyone. We have prizes for best costume. We have entire families that come dressed up as Thanksgiving dinner some years. So it's a lot of fun for everyone. Everyone is able to participate in their own way.
This has been the news. We're talking with Mike Carpentier from the Franklin Park Coalition. Mike, how does this event help serve the goals of the coalition to take care of this park?
So we consider sort of play, work, engage, or sort of what we consider the three pillars of what we do. This fits into a few of those. It's obviously play. It engages the community, and for some people it can be a lot of work too, but what's great about this is it brings in, we might have 1,300 runners this year. A lot of those people are probably familiar with Franklin Park, have spent time in it before, but it's good to get the publicity out there, get people to know and use the park. Despite it being such the largest green space in Boston, a lot of people, surprisingly, don't use it or aren't that familiar with it. They may know that the zoo is there, or they may know that there is a zoo, but they don't know where it is. So it's amazing, even in our own city, people outside the immediate neighborhood may not know that much about the park. So it's great for us to get the word out there, and of course, from people signing up for the turkey trot, it helps us raise the funds to be able to do things like our other main projects, like the Kite and Bike Festival, which is basically the unofficial heralding of spring in the park that's free to everyone to come out for the community. The summer concert series, the Emma Lewis Playhouse in the Park, every Tuesday in July and August. Those are all free for the community. So it's really a jumping off point for everything else we do, from advocacy to the other free events we put on.
Well, all these events you name, they're good for the Franklin Park regulars, but what about people who have never been to the park before?
Well,
How do they react when they show up for one of these things and they see what's there?
I think the first reaction for people who have not been to the park before is they're amazed at this oasis, this urban oasis in the middle of the city. I mean, that was, Frederick Olmsted's design. That's what he planned for. It's supposed to be a country park. It has I believe it's the second oldest public golf course in the country. And it's really an amazing site to go from, row houses and apartment buildings to all of a sudden you're in the middle of a forest. And it's really incredible. And I think that's usually the reaction we get from people is they just didn't realize that was there.
Well, a lot of people drive through the parks. They see the golf course, they see the zoo, they know what that's about. They see joggers like yourself. But take us further in, the wilderness areas, what that's like.
Oh yeah, there's some really interesting sub-areas of the park and ruins, actually. There's, from when the zoo was originally constituted, there's these bear cages that are abandoned, a little dilapidated, but very interesting architecture, and it's some of the fun little hidden spots. There's pathways all through the woods. There's a beautiful archway underneath Circuit Drive that people drive over all the time, but probably don't realize that it's down there. You are correct that a lot of people pass through Franklin Park, and one of our objectives is to make people stop, look around, listen, and have some fun in the park as well.
Because one of the other things you need to do is to take care of the park, because even if humans don't litter that much, you still got the weather, the high winds, you get branches that keep falling down, and I guess you've got some cleanup work for people to help out with too, right?
And humans litter plenty still, even those who use the park. One of the advocacy pieces we do, or one of the work pieces from our pillars, is to take volunteers out on Saturday mornings throughout most of the year, either cleaning up aspects of the park, sweeping up leaves, or removing invasive species. We do that in conjunction with Northeastern and their students, and we also host local groups to come in and have a day in the park. I actually originally became involved with the Franklin Park Coalition when I joined the Boston Bar Association's environmental group held a cleanup in the park, and that's how I met our then executive director and got involved.
And you need a new executive director, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We have been operating for the past 6 months or so with an interim executive director overseeing our leadership transition, and now we're ready to start our search process for a permanent executive director.
Well, we should mention on Thursday you're going to be holding the Turkey Trot. So what time should people show up in exactly which part of the park?
So the start line and the finish line is right near the golf course clubhouse, which is 1 Circuit Drive. The race starts at 9. If you can sign up online, you can go to fpc5k.com, which will take you to our website and have a link to registration. You can also sign up in person, either Wednesday night at the JP Licks on Center Street in Jamaica Plain. You can also pick up your number there, so you don't have to do it in the morning. Or you can do it the morning of, but we're getting somewhat close to our 1,500 person cap, so we can't guarantee that people who show up on the morning of will have a bib, but we encourage people who do show up on the morning of either to pick up their bib or to sign up to do so by 8 a.m.
Plus, you also have a website with some details about upcoming events beyond the Turkey Trot.
Yeah, you can check out our website, the franklinparkcoalition.org, or find us on Facebook, Franklin Park BOS, Boston, for more information about all the things going on in the park.
Thank you very much for being with us, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Mike Carpentier from the Franklin Park Coalition.